If you're joining us, let us know where you're watching from. Say hi. Hi, Omar. Tina. Oh, several people. Denise. We got Colorado, Dallas, Missouri. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started, guys. We have a very special guest with us. Paden Bray is with us. He's the 2019 PRCA Rookie Heeler of the Year and 2020 NFR Team Roping Average Champion. And he's gonna talk about heading and heeling ropes options from Classic and Rattler.
Please make sure you get those questions in the comments or just say hello. Let us know you're watching. At the end of this live segment, we are going to be giving away a classic rope bag and a classic rope of your choice. So one of our lucky viewers are going to win those items. And so with that, Paden, we're going to turn it over to you.
Perfect, guys. Thanks for watching. Paden Bray. On behalf of Classic and Rattler, we're going to talk team ropes today. So the first one I'm talking about, we're going to go old school to new school. This is the 3-strand that Classic makes. It's the only one in their line. This is called the Moneymaker. And this is we're going to talk about blends today a little bit because there's team roping. They have nylon and then nylon poly. And the nylons are going to be not necessarily lighter, but they're not going to have as much weight because it's going to be the same exact size. But the nylon poly blend, what it does, it adds more weight to the rope without making it too big in your hands, without making the circumference of the rope too big. So this is a nylon poly blended rope. It's a little old school. It is it's extreme. It's pretty heavy. It's all there when you feel it. And the 3-strand, some of the characteristics of it, it's going to have taller crowns. So when you guys rope a lot of steers or you dally, it's not going to run the horn as much. And then another thing too about it, it's a deader feeling rope because it is a 3-strand. It's not as fast. It's going to be a little bit deader so you guys rope some smaller horns, or you rope in different situations. You like the deader feel. This might be a good option for you guys. I know there's a lot of the older generation, grew up roping using 3-strands. These guys. That's why they keep making this rope, is for those kind of guys that do like this rope. And then from the head rope, we're going to go to the heel rope. And the heel rope is the same thing. It's nylon poly blend, and the same way as this rope. It's full body. It is pretty big in your hands, but the thing about this rope, it's not going to slide. It's going to stay where you put it. It's got a lot of body and a lot of feel and a lot of weight. I mean, this rope would be great in the wind or any type of situation where the cattle are bigger. If you don't want to run on the horn at all, this rope is very forgiving, and it's like I said, it's heavy rope. It's all there. And it even feels pretty big in your hands. And so then Classic is the first company in the whole industry to come out with the 4-strand with the core. And this is where we're going to go next to. This is the XR4 Lite. And they had it at a full back in the day. They still use really big ropes. Now this is a 3/8 scant, and this is 100% nylon. 100% nylon. Meaning it's going to be very, very good in the winter. This rope is a winter favorite. A lot of you Northerners, the Canadians, Montana, South Dakota, North Dakota, a lot of these ropes are pretty favorable up there because they do so well in the winter conditions. They don't get that, it's really cold. It's in the wintertime. They don't really have that backswing. They stay really straight and really forgiving. So if you're going to use a brand new rope or just bust one out of roping, man, 100% nylon in the winter is very, very user-friendly, I think. But this rope right here is the head rope. Even though this rope is not very common, like I would say as much as the other ropes, because it is a bigger, deader feel, there's still a handful of professionals that use this rope. Brenton Hall and Colton Schmidt like this rope in the summertime when it's hot. These ropes in the heat, especially the head ropes, they take it very, very well. The heat doesn't really affect them. They stay really big, open, and true. And on summertime at the rodeos, you'll see a lot of guys maybe pull these out when it's a really hot, windy day and this cattle are running really hard. These ropes really can fight the wind, and they can stay very, very open forgiving. And they're going to really fit dead. It's going to feel real dead in your hand, almost kind of like a calf rope, but it's got some body, and it really hits the horns nice, and it's going to be very forgiving on the horns. And then the heel rope, same thing, 100% nylon. This rope I would recommend this rope, like I said, to anyone, because one reason is this rope is not super, super heavy, but this rope has an extreme amount of tip weight. You can really feel this rope as it comes around your head, and when you want to place it on the ground, you can really feel it leave your fingertips, and I absolutely love the color. The white rope, you can really see it on any type of situation, whether it's dark outside or the lights aren't very good, or if you're roping cattle. You can really see how your loop finishes and what maybe you need to work on. But this is, like I said, 100% nylon, and I said very favorable in the winter. These ropes do extremely well in the winter conditions. From there, we're going to go to the Powerline Light. This rope is the same nylon poly blend as the Moneymaker. And this rope right here is to me, this right here is probably the most favorable rope to any type of professional pro rodeo guy, any type of guy that use a rope for a living. This is what most of them are using, in the head rope and the heel rope. And the reason is because for the headers, this rope, it's not super, super big. It's got a lot of weight. But this rope lets guys get that first swing off, really know where their tip's at. And when they put it on the horns, it's got a really good balance where it just really sits where you put it. Like the guys that use this rope from an extra soft to a medium soft love that they can feel their tip from the first swing. And they all say that they can feel like they can throw it however far they want to, and they can really feel the rope where everything's at. So when they're out in the summertime, when the start's won over in Caldwell and it's a free header and you got to go after every single steer, or, if you're at the old George Strait, or if you're at the U.S. Ropens or any big rope in BFI, when you're going at a really high rate of speed, they really like this rope because they're able to control wherever it feels, and wherever they want to put it, this rope stays with them and lets them do it. So most of your professionals are going to be using a Powerline, and I'd recommend this rope to honestly anybody. This rope has a great feel from a novice to open guy, because this rope is small in your hand kind of, but it's got a lot of weight, and it really lets you feel your tip, and this rope really sits on the horns nice. Now going to the heel rope, this is my personal all-time favorite, and I want to say I think 12 out of the 15 guys that made the finals last year were using this exact rope. This is a healer's dream. This rope is amazing. It's great in any type of weather situation. There's really not a bad day where you don't want to use a Powerline, especially. And you can get by any rope in the winter. In the winter time, you're opening the buildings, the weather's nice and cool, all the ropes feel good. But where this rope is exceptional and stands out, the heat does not affect this rope. You can use this rope anytime and anywhere. And like I said, like you're out rodeoing in the summer, the outdoor arenas where the ground's deep and the steers are big and strong and you're going fast, this rope really does stay true feeling. And when you put this rope on the ground, it literally blows up. Like I can use any other rope on the market that Classic and Rattler makes. When I practice, these loops hit the best with this rope. When I put my bottom shear on the ground, the tip literally comes all the way through and just really pushes. You can always put a rope on the ground, but the Powerline has that extra tip feel and weight, where once you do set on the ground and break over that right leg, the tip of the rope keeps coming all the way back. And the reason why this rope is my favorite is because whenever I put it on the ground, it stays there and it blows up, and then my loop comes all the way through. So from there, we're going to go to the NV4. So this rope, the head rope, is a nylon poly blend. I think it come out in mid-2000s. And they wanted a rope because the cattle and the times were getting smaller and the times were getting faster. And they wanted a rope that was like the Powerline, but maybe just not quite as heavy. Maybe, for the females and the younger guys, or just anyone in general that wanted a really good feeling rope, but maybe the Powerline was a little bit too much. This is where this rope came out. Like I said, the cattle were just getting smaller, and this rope has a really good feel. It's got the same deadness and that weight feel because of the poly as the Powerline, but it's not quite as it's not fast, but it's not as heavy. This rope's a little lighter in your hand. It's a little smaller feeling. The crowns are a little smaller. It's kind of a little tighter spun rope, and it's got a really good feel, like a really good tip weight. Like for calf ropers, or anyone that's looking for a little bit, like, loves the power line, but maybe, man, that's just a little too heavy. This rope might be your niche. I mean, this right here is really good feeling rope. Like I said, nylon poly. It's got the same package as the power line, just a skosh smaller. And on the heel side, this rope, more guys are starting to use this rope over most of the ropes. When they're switching, not using a power line, and this is what they're going with. Wesley Thorpe won the rope world with this a couple years ago, and this rope's really starting to kick off. A lot of guys are really loving this rope as a heel rope. And the heel rope's different. The heel rope's 100% nylon on the NV4. And one of my favorite things about this rope is the color. This rope has such a real highlighter color, orange color, and you can really see this rope. And this rope honestly has a great feel. Like I said, same way as the power line. They made this rope because the power line fits a lot of ropers, but man, my shoulder's not as good as it once was, or my shoulder can't really take a power line all the time. This is what the guys are using, and this is what everyone's kind of turning to. It's really easy to swing. It's got a really good amount of weight, and it has all the characteristics of the power line, just not as much. But this rope hits the ground really good. It really settles. And, if the power line, just like the head up, if the power line is just a little too much, go ahead and try these NV4s, because they do honestly great in any kind of weather condition, and they do feel great all the time. And then now we got the NXT4. We'll talk about the head rope in a minute because it is a 5-strand. But the NXT4 is my personal preference. My favorite rope, just to rope at the house with or practice with. This rope feels probably the best feeling heel rope, honestly. This rope has such a good balance of weight and then body. This rope is easy to swing. A lot of young kids use this rope. A lot of older guys use this rope. Walt Woodard, the one of the best ropers that ever lived. He loved the blue rope, the GT4. But you know what? He's a little older. His shoulder can't take it anymore. This is kind of what he went to. This rope really fits everybody. This is what Petska won the world with a couple years ago. And this rope is not quite as much as the NV4, but this rope has its own particular feel. If you guys grab one, you'll understand what I'm talking about. But it's not quite as heavy as the NV4, but the amount of weight this rope has the perfect body to match it. It's easy to swing. It's highly visible with the highlighter yellow. And it's really forgiving. Like, if you ever want to swing your rope and then something's not right and you need to just kind of swing through a shot, this rope lets you stay with your horse and stay with your rope and place it wherever you want to. But it's got great weight and great feel. And for a lot of the younger guys that are coming up, little novice ropers that want to move up ropes, I tell them about this rope. And also this rope too, they make it in a soft 35-foot lay. So you ladies out there, you kids growing up, we'll talk about the heat here in a minute, but this rope, they make it in a soft 35-foot for you novice guys that, man, maybe a medium soft's a little too much rope. They make this in a soft 35-foot for you guys, so you still got that extra 5 foot to dally with, and it's a little smaller. So you younger guys, when you're first learning how to heel, or you ladies out there, they make this rope in a soft lay just so you guys could have something a little bit more easy for you guys to use. And now we're going to go to the heat. This rope is the #1 selling rope in the world for probably over 10 years now. I think this came out in 2008, and this rope is nothing short of, just about perfect. They wanted to make a rope that was 100% nylon, that, as I said, they go from the 90s to the 2000s. The ropes just kept on getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and this rope right here is small, easy to swing, and has a smooth feel. But for as small as it is, this rope still has amazing body and amazing tip weight. And everybody, I would recommend this rope to absolutely everybody, from the novice to the professionals. Everybody loves this rope. The guys with a tighter, aggressive swing, or guys that like to really make tight head loops, or just the people that just enjoy just a nice, easy rope to swing around, use all day, that lasts forever, that can handle any type of weather conditions because of the all nylon. This rope right here has been amazing for a lot of years. A lot of guys from the open to the 8-point rope and use this rope, and it is very, very forgiving. And honestly, this rope can fit any and everybody. Going to the heel rope, it's the same way. When I was growing up, this is exactly what I used when I first started heeling. The heat is very easy to swing, and when I was growing up, I used to be a real small kid, and they made this in a 35-foot soft. and I couldn't ever swing my rope. I couldn't ever get on my horse. And if I used medium soft, I couldn't quite get enough speed on my rope. But this rope right here in a soft and then through about a medium soft, this rope let me be able to keep speed on my rope and help me ride my horse better because this rope was so easy for me to swing. So for you guys that, want a rope that's easy to swing, very forgiving, and just not so much heavy. This rope is not heavy at all. This rope is very light and easy to swing, but this rope can still do whatever you want it to do because of the amount of body that's in it. And that's the thing I'm talking about every rope. Classic does such a good job of making every rope have very good feel, and because they don't feel big in your hands. Every rope has really good diameter, but all the ropes have the amount of body to match the rope. I mean, it's where there's too much tip weight and there's not enough body. All the ropes have really balanced feel. And these ropes right here are just easy to swing and very user friendly. And, especially for young kids, the NXT4 and the Heat, they make them in a soft 35 foot. For you guys just learning how to rope and just learning how to get speed on your rope and catch, I would recommend these ropes because that's honestly what I grew up using. So now we're going to go to the Rattler side. Rattler has 3 ropes in their line. And the first one we're going to talk about today is the GT4. So going back to the Heat, the GT4 is 100% nylon, and it's really similar to the Heat. It has a real similar feel. But the GT4 is just a hair bigger, just a hair more than what the Heat is. On the head side, that's really what you're going to feel. It has a really good feel, but it's going to feel a little bit deader. It's not going to feel as much action. It's not going to feel as much snappy as the Heat. And this rope is an exceptional rope in the winter. It's 100% nylon. And there's a couple of these nylons that just feel that much better in the winter. And a lot of guys, Jeff Flanagan used these at the finals last year. And a lot of guys, it's kind of funny, before the finals will come around, Luke Brown a couple years ago will just pull this rope out, not use it really all year, but just pull it out right before the NFR because it has, in that cool weather, it's got a real balanced feel. It's got a dead feel, so like you can really feel it when you come across. Not quite as much as the power line, but it really hits the horns good. And this rope has won a lot of money, not especially at the finals at the head ropes. These guys, it's kind of funny. You'll never see them use these all year long, and then right before the finals, they'll pull them out of their bag, and you'll see them use them. But a little bit more weight than the Heat. Maybe like you say, you like the Heat and you just want to touch more weight. This is the rope you need to grab. And going to the heel rope, I could be mistaken, but this rope right here has won more gold buckles on the heel side than any other rope between Rich and Jay Corkill and Colin Von On. This rope has won multiple world titles. And this, back in the 2000s, this was the rope. This is the rope that everybody used. This is the rope that everybody wanted. And this rope, you honestly can't say enough about it because this rope is just kind of one of those ropes that's just a mainstay. It's just everyone that's ever pro rodeos or ropes good, they've always used the blue rope for a period of time. But the GT4 has its own unique feel to me. It's not quite as Powerline, but it's got a unique feel because of the fibers they put into it, but it's right underneath it. It's very fast, but man, the rope has good tip weight, and when you put it on the ground, it blows up and it shoots through there, comes all the way through. But, this rope also, too, for the novices, it's not too heavy. It stays right in the middle. But for the guys, too, if you want to get these ropes in a medium hard or a hard medium, this rope's all you want, and it does very good in all types of weather situations. But like I said, the most gold buckles in the world is one with the GT4. And then we're going to go to the Radar. This is the Radar 4. This is the head rope. For you ladies, you younger guys, or someone that doesn't like a big rope, you're used to something small, this rope is a unique rope in itself because to me, this rope feels amazing. This is one of my favorites to head with. It's not very big in your hand. This rope is small and it's real tightly spun and it's compact. But this rope, for as small as it is, this rope has really good tip weight. You can really feel your tip with it. There's a lot of guys, professionals, that enjoy using these on really small horn cattle because this rope, how the blends are and how it feels, this rope does not come off the horns very easily. Levi Simpson's been jackpotting with this. I kind of got him on him because he feels like the power lines sometimes are just a little too open, a little too dead for him. But for Levi, he can really cut the horns off with these right here because they're small, but they got a weight. It's like an extra small, like kind of like a power line feel. It's got that feel, but it's not quite as big at all. And this rope has tremendous feel. And a lot of ladies, a lot of the all-girl ropers, ladies really like this rope. A lot of kids like it. When I was growing up, I enjoyed heading with this rope because this rope is very user-friendly and it's very easy to swing. But this rope, don't let it fool you. It's got a tremendous amount of weight for how big the rope actually is. And then the heel rope. Everything I just told you about the head rope, just throw it out the window because the heel rope is the exact opposite. So in the Radar, it's got its own unique blend of nylon poly. But this rope, it's honestly right almost with the power line. This rope has a very dead feel. It's going to stay exactly where you put it. It's not small. It's not fast. It's got its own feel. It's going to feel a little bigger in your hand. It's going to feel very true. And it's going to feel very, the swing's going to feel very leveled off. And when you do put it down there, it's going to stay exactly where you put it. It's a little heavier than the GT4, but not quite got the power line feel to it to me. But it's kind of like right in between, a little bit more than the NV4 even. But for guys that maybe the power line is a little too much, or you just like a dead rope, you want something that's very forgiving, and when you put it down, you want it to be dead. This rope fits that niche very good, but a very good rope. Like I said, it's got its own unique feel. You guys got to get one to try it, but nylon poly, and this rope's all there. I wouldn't really recommend this to someone that needs something that's very fast or forgiving, because this rope, it's all you want, but it's going to sit exactly where you put it. Now to the newest rope in the line, that Classic and Rattler. This is the Triton. And this rope, they have Rattler. When they come out with this rope, they don't just come out with a rope for no reason. This is the rope that they felt had there was something missing in the line, and this is the rope that filled it up. They had their own unique blend of fibers and to make this rope. And the rope itself, you just got to get one to swing it. It's very small, it's compact, but this rope has an insane amount of weight for as much as small line it is feel. It's probably got a little bit of like the heat feel to me, but when you feel it in your hands, you can really feel that tip come around. And this is a favorite among a lot of professionals, and there's a lot of people use this rope. And how the fibers are wound and the fibers that are in this rope lasts a very long time. This rope is very unique in its feel. Clay Smith has won the world with this thing twice, and this is one of his ropes of choice. And I would recommend this rope to absolutely anyone. I mean, it feels small in your hand. It's not a big rope, but the amount of weight it has and the amount of tip feel it has, this rope is really, really snappy. It's got that happy medium. It's honestly, every rope that they made, this is kind of something that's a little bit different. It's small, but it's got weight, but it's snappy. It's like they made all the traits in a head rope all in one right here. And this is a very, very good rope. I would recommend this rope to absolutely anybody. And the heel rope's the same way. The fibers, it's a little, to me, it feels like the strands are tighter. Like this rope's real tighter spun. And I think it's because the amount of diameter it has for the amount of weight it has. That's what makes it balance out very, very good. So same thing in the head rope is the exact same thing in the heel rope. For amount of weight this rope has, or the size of it, it's got a lot of weight. So you can use this rope and you'll be able to really feel your tip, and it's going to be easy for you guys to hold. And if you want a rope that's a little smaller with a lot of tip weight, this is the one, because this thing, when you put it down there, you'll be able to see that loop come all the way through. So now we're going to move to the 5 strands. So in 2009, Classic come out with the Spider at the finals, and a lot of guys used it, and this rope has been a mainstay in the market. This is 100% nylon, and it's kind of the same thing. Talk about the Triton a little bit. The characteristic, this is what this rope offers. This rope is going to feel small in your hand. One of my buddies, ropes calves, Haven Medjid, he's always using calf ropes, and this is his head rope of choice, because he says this rope, he can really control it good, but he can really grip it. It's not big around. It's going to be small in your hands. And for you younger guys or ladies, when you want to have a rope that's easy to hold and really can put on the horns and get it tight and just really be able to control the rope, this one does it. And honestly, too, this rope has an amazing amount of body. That's the best characteristic of this rope, is because they got a lot of small diameter with a lot of body, and it's easy to swing, but it's got the weight and the body to match it. But Luke Brown absolutely loves this rope. Luke's used this rope for years. You'll see him switch back and forth with this in the NXT. But, you know, this rope is a great rope for absolutely everybody. It's easy to swing. And from the professional to the novice, this rope, honestly, is probably the best feeling rope in the world. I mean, you swing one and you just want to fall in love with it, because every time you swing it, they just feel so good. And the heel rope's the same way. When I was growing up, this was one of my favorites because this rope is not very big around. It's easy to swing, but the best thing about this rope, it's got so much body and feel. It doesn't outweigh the rope, but when I was little growing up, I loved these in medium soft, because the first rope I used outside the heat was the Spider, because the medium soft leg gave me more body than what the heat could offer. But this rope was easy to swing, yet place. I could really see them very well. But the amount of body it let me have with as much as soft as the rope was, I just absolutely loved it. It was easy for me to swing, hit the ground great. And like I said, that body feel, when you have a small rope with a lot of body, you can really feel it and you can really place it, and it helps you get a lot of speed on your rope as well. And it's the only 5-strand heel rope that the Classic makes. And then this is the NXT5. So this one is a nylon poly blend. The Spider is 100% nylon, and the NXT is going to be your nylon poly blend. So if you love the Spider, love that 5-strand fast feel, but just need a hair more weight, this is the rope. When this come out, there's a lot of guys use this at the finals, and like I said, Luke Brown juggles back and forth between this rope and the Spider. But when Luke's going to be rodeoing, but this rope has an amazing feel. This rope almost it's got a calf rope feel with a lot of body. This rope feels really good, and your hands really smooth. And it's just got it's got the same feel as a Spider, but it's got that extra weight that you need if you're going to be reaching, or if you really want to be able to set on the horns a little bit. Maybe Spider's just a little fast for you. Maybe you can't just quite keep up with them. This rope's going to have that deadness and that softness feeling to where you can really feel your tip, but then again, you can really grab the rope, grip it, and it's very, very easy to swing. And like I said, this rope is going to be great for anybody. And the last one, for you Derek Begays of the world, this is the ranch rope. This is 100% nylon. This is basically similar to the XR4 Lite. It's 35 feet long, and it's an extra soft lay. And for all you ranchers, all you cowboys, or, you know, even you kids growing up, you want something that's really easy to swing, go ropes with cows with, go brand, whatever. This rope is good. And I was kind of thinking about it when I broke these ropes out. This rope would be great for younger guys or anyone that just wants to even just have a heel rope or whatever, to just first learn how to heel. It's got a little bit more weight than the Spider, or not Spider, or the Heat or the NXT. But this is an extra soft. This rope is very soft, very pliable, and it's 35 foot long, and you can do whatever you guys want with it. But I enjoy getting a couple of these just to practice with and heel with and play around with. And that's all of them.
Okay, we do have a couple questions for you that popped up.
Perfect.
This one is from Sue, and she wanted to know, do these ropes need to be seasoned or stretched like the old-fashioned ropes?
To me, I think there's a break-in process for every single rope, and I can talk about that. To me, all your ropes, when you get them out, I like to just feel them and get the feel for them. But I think every rope, you can either stretch them on a pole. Some people do that, but I think it's great to run 1 or 2 with them and then put them up for a day or 2, or even the longer you put them up, maybe the better. But to break the rope in, you need to put 1 or 2 runs on it to where you don't overextend the fibers. What ruins a rope is when you get a brand new rope and you take it to a jackpot, or you take it somewhere and you just put run after run after run with it. Well, then you're going to feel the rope getting softer, and getting breakdown spots where you're down. And it's because the rope hasn't had a chance to bounce back. So put 1 or 2 runs on them, cool them up kind of big, and let them sit in your rope bag or set them in a cool place, maybe in your house or your trailer or tack room, and let them ropes set. And then fibers will come back and they'll take a lock on the strands. And then you bring it back, that rope's going to feel like that. You can run 20 with it after that, and the rope's still going to feel the same way as you broke it out.
All right. Russell had a question. He asked, what's good for healing calves at brandings?
Well, they do make a 35-foot extra soft ranch rope. They just call it the ranch rope. But honestly, I prefer any type of head rope. But I mean, any type of old head rope you got, whatever you want to use. Maybe maybe soft or medium soft lay, have a little bit more body when you put it down on them dragging calves. But they do make a ranch rope specific for that. If you need a little bit more rope, 35 foot. But either that or any other head rope, in my opinion.
Okay. This question is from the Bob Feist Invitational page. And they said, hey, Paden, what rope were you using last Sunday at the Feist? And do you use different ropes for different weather conditions?
I was using the Powerline Light, hard medium. And if I tell my partner, kind of jokingly, if he sees me use any other rope besides that rope, to go ahead and grab one of those, because, and I kind of joke with the guys at Classic too. I tell them, if I order anything else with the Powerline, just give me a Powerline. But I think that's the best rope in the world, and that is my favorite all-time rope, and that's what all the guys are using, and I rope the best with that rope, so that's the only one I'm going to use day in, day out.
All right, Cole had a question. What horses are you riding right now, and what things do you like to do with a young horse before they start roping?
I got a handful of horses right now. I got probably 6 or 7, and I got them all in different stages. But to me, the horse got to be really broke and really user friendly. You need to be able to ride them around, engage the bridle reins, and have some behind end come underneath them in their stop. You want them to be elevated in the front end to where you can be, to where when you're running down the arena, you're pushing them, and the hind end is moving and the front feet are pedaling to where you're not getting the front end. And then maybe the dummy. I like roping dummy. I like roping it really slow and getting them pattern on a dummy to where they're following the cow, and then maybe rope some fresh steers, maybe at least, or resets. I think resets are great, where you got to rope some and you kind of just reset them till it's slow enough for the horse, and that way you get them to make in the corner and the left lead, and you get them to follow, and then you get to teach them that separation.
What rope do you suggest for a newbie learning how to rope?
Okay, so it depends on which type. If you've never roped before in your life, I would recommend the Heat. The Heat is very easy to swing. It's very easy to use, and it's 100% nylon. It's not going to run the horn. It's going to feel great, and that's the all-time selling rope for a reason. I think the Heat would be great. And then if you grab a Heat and you're like, man, I need a little bit more, maybe try the GT4, or maybe if you need a little less, I would say the Radar. Any of those 3 ropes, I feel like would cover all the bases for novices.
Omar asks, do you have a jackpot entering strategy for a newer roper?
I think, to me, when you heel at the jackpots, to me, it's all about giving yourself options. I don't want to limit myself to one shot when I'm jackpotting. So when I'm jackpotting, I want to stay kind of off the cows a little bit more, dang sure have some width, but I want to make sure when I enter the corner, I want to have the steer in front of me at all times, so I'm always pushing to a spot, because if I can see the feet, I can rope the feet. But if I get in tight and the steer's right beside my horse and I'm looking for a shot, I'm not as high percentage. I like to keep the run out in front of me. I like to keep steers out in front of me to where I'm always pushing to a spot and giving myself more options. If I ride really high and really tight and I turn the corner and the steers are kind of in front of me, I got to pull off the heel and my chances go down. But if I let the run flow, keep the steers out in front of me and push to the steer, I have a way better catch percentage, in my opinion.
Andrea asked, what is the name of the yellow rope that you went over?
So that would be the NXT. Then the NXT has a 4-strand and a 5-strand. The 5-strand is the NXT 5 in the head rope. It's the nylon poly blend. It's got the 5-strand feel just like the Spider, but it's got a little bit more weight increased into it because the nylon poly blend. And then the heel rope is the NXT 4. It's a 4-strand, and it's got that really good, well-balanced feel. Easy to swing. Would recommend it to anybody. It's not a real heavy rope, but just real mild, real easy to swing, and very forgiving.
Ashley asked, are the ropes for kids in different colors?
Yes, they make actual different. We haven't gone over these, but they do make kid ropes at Classic, and they make a real small one called the Extreme, kind of like a chicken rope, and they make a 28-foot scant kid rope called the Extreme. They make it in multiple different colors. That feels amazing, and there's all different colors for you kids, and that's what I grew up using as the Extreme.
Okay. This question is from Judy. Do you recommend different ropes for different horn sizes and setups?
Absolutely. I think it's just your own personal feel. I think for bigger horns, to me, you want more body. So maybe use a smaller rope or a bigger rope in a stiffer leg. To me, it's easier to use a soft, let's say on bigger horns. But for smaller horns, when you want them to really shut tight, I think a softer rope in any of the classic ropes, I think they all hit the horns really well, but it's all personal preference. I think a soft on bigger horns, and I think an extra soft or double X on your smaller horns. And that's just a rope to your preference. You like a bigger rope, maybe use a power line or a Triton or a GT4. Or if you want to use a smaller rope, use a spider or a radar or a heat, and there's a variation between the lays. But I'm the same way. I like to use a smaller rope with more body on the bigger horns because that's easier for me to control. And then when I do want to come across the horns, I got the extra body from the stiffness to be able to help cover both horns at the same time.
All right. Natalie asked, is a rope for breakaway different than ropes for team and calf roping?
Well, that's a great thing about Classic and Rattler is because a lot of the ropes can have the same characteristics of a breakaway rope, but this is going to have more increased in body. And what that is like when you swing the rope, it's not going to want to close up. It's going to have that maybe that calf rope feel in your hands, but when you do swing it and you bring that swing up, it's going to have that body which keeps the loop open to let your rope finish. So whether you're heading or heeling or roping from roping calves, they make different ropes that give those characteristics the same.
Okay. Abby asked, what separates the Rattler ropes from the classic ropes?
It's pretty much the same. The same people make them. It's just a different brand. Rattler makes three ropes. Classic makes probably eight or so. But it's the same rope. They're the same company, just different brands.
All right. Tina asked, what rope would you recommend for young ladies just starting in roping?
Head or heel? I guess you don't know. And it doesn't really. Like I said, I think the heat would be a great rope to start out with. The rope is 100% nylon. It's easy to swing, easy to feel. And when I first started out, that's what I used. It was my personal preference. For the heel side, it's going to be easy for you to swing through shots. It's not going to be so heavy. There's not much bottom strand when you put it down. And the head up's the same way. It's very easy and very forgiving, but it's got enough weight to where it'll stay right where you put it.
Yeah. Olivia says she's a very big fan of the Triton for heading. How would you compare the Triton and the NXT4? I'm starting to heel and I find the MS a bit stiff and heavy.
Okay, perfect. So the Triton is going to be a little bit more weight than the NXT to me. The Triton is going to have really good feel, but like maybe on the heel side, it might be a little too much. The NXT is going to be a little softer and a little bit more forgiving feel. And then honestly, too, if that's too much, you can go down to a soft in the NXT. And if that's too much, you can go down to a heat, which is going to be a little smaller, and you can use that in a softer leg. But to me, the Triton's going to be just a hair more weight than the NXT. But even if the NXT is a little much, you can go down to a heat, medium soft, and then even a heat soft, which that's the bottom line. That's what I used when I was a little kid. But just starting to heel, the NXT in a medium soft or a soft, and the heat in a soft or a medium soft would be absolutely ideal, I think.
Cole asks, do you write down or set goals? What are some of your career goals?
Well, I like to set a couple goals, and I kind of like to set them pretty high. But I guess last year I wanted to win the college finals. I wanted to be a world champion, and I want to make the finals. So I feel like it's good to set goals, and it's good to have, it's funny. What I'll do is I'll set them, and then I kind of won't think about it, and I'll just kind of go through my daily routine, and kind of try to be the best I want to be. And then at the end of the year, you can kind of sit back and look and see what you wrote down and see what you accomplished. But I think the higher goals you set, the better. And then that way you can look back. You'll honestly be accomplished a lot more, probably the higher goals you set.
How do you see your timing when you heel? What do you watch?
To me, timing is pretty complex to talk about, but to me, it's more so positioning because it's just like golf. Sometimes it feels good, sometimes it don't. And to me, the best way I can control when it feels good is when my position's good. So if I keep the steers in front of me and the steers hopping and the steers in front of me, to me, as I'm going to the cow and I'm on the gain, I can regulate the steer's timing and I can see the hop happen because it's developing in front of me. But if I get close or I get tight and I can't see the steer's timing and I can't see his jumps, that's when it's hard for me. So I think it's all positions more so. Timing's more so position and field to run. If the steer's in front of you and you're pushing to the steer, you can react and see what he's going to do. But if you're on top of the steer and the steer is right beside your horse, it's hard to regulate your speed of your horse and see what that next jump's going to allow you to do.
Chris asked, how do you handle haze steers that go hard right?
That's a good question. Sometimes I feel like healers are a little bit helpless. And nowadays we got a heel barrier a lot of times. At the rodeos, there's really not much excuse for us healers not to haze because there is no heel barrier. But I mean, at the rodeos, I like to get a pretty good start. But my guy likes them really straight. So it's just, it's just a feel. It's what you got to be on the same page as your header. If your header likes them left or straight or whatever. But at the rodeos, just maybe get the mouth of the box, or I like to watch the header personally. When it's a quick setup, I watch my partner nod, and when he nods, it's what cues the gate guy to open the gate. So when he nods, that's when I leave. Maybe try that if you're at the rodeos. But at the jackpots, we're kind of not as we aren't allowed to haze as much because a lot of times there's a heel barrier in front of us. So a lot of times we just have to kind of just react to the situation and go kind of catch a steer because we don't need that extra 5 seconds when we're heeling. But at the rodeos, if you're trouble being a little late, maybe try watching your header nod. That's what I prefer to do. I feel like I get the best start when I do that.
Okay, this question is from Dakota. When heeling, do you change your delivery depending on the shot you are taking?
I don't think so. I think I try to be pretty much the same about it. Like I said, it's more so position. But if the steer's in front of you and you're reacting to the steer, sometimes when he's dragging, I'll hold on to it a little longer. Or if the hop changes, if I need to really stay down with it, I will. But if everything's rolling smoothly, I don't necessarily change how I deliver. I just might change how long I hold on my rope, or if I stay down a little bit longer to help my rope finish is what I'll change.
Jaden had a question, and I think you kind of went over this before, but just in case he joined a little later, how do you break in your ropes? How long do you let them rest? And how many times do you stretch them when they are new? He uses the NXTHM.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Personally, for healers, I like putting 1, maybe 2 run max, and maybe not just. And it's how you do it too. Like I don't like to just dally and get a really full pull and just really rip it that first time. Really get a really good pull on it. I like to kind of just maybe do a bump or let that rope get some black on it. And maybe the second time kind of get a pull, but I don't want to just really sit on it or lock it down. I think that's terrible. If you lock it, I just think you should just get a good dally, get a good stretch on it. And I like to pull my ropes up big and I like to put them in my bag. And that way, and then let it set for maybe a day or two. Or I think the longer you can break them in and let them set, the better. Especially since you do like a hard medium, which I think is great. The more you let that rope set, the more it's going to have that hard medium, have that body, have that really good feel. So 1 or 2 stretches, get a good pull on it, but don't just let your rope run a whole lot. Just get a good pull on it and put it up. Big coils, put it in your bag or put it on the ground somewhere and let it set maybe a week or 2. I think that rope's going to last you that much longer.
Okay, this is from Josh. Before setting your trap, before you deliver, do you keep the tip of your loop with the steer's back, giving it that perfect gait?
I don't think that your tip to me, I like it flat. I don't like it down. To me, I want my tip more so flat because when you're coming down the arena and you turn in, the force when you turn in on your horse and you swing your rope, you automatically have that kind of drop to it. So I don't like to overemphasize that. I try to swing really flat and open because to me, what makes the trap or your gait is how you break your rope off the leg. If the steer is at the height of the jump, your loop's coming in and you really break it off that right leg, that's what's going to shoot your loop through. Because if you have your tip down, then you're going to have to bring your arm up to get you to deliver, and then you have to bring it back down. That's making way too many moves. I think swinging flat, almost kind of over the steer's head in a way, like just right over his horns, that way your loop is more flat. So when it does come across, it comes all the way through and your rope breaks off the right leg. That's what I think gives you that big gait.
Ty asked, what do you like to do for a horse that gets short easy? He said the NV4 heel rope is the way to go.
Perfect. Yeah, no, the MV4 is a great rope. To me, when I get a horse that feels a little tighter to me, the first day of the first one of the day, maybe when a horse is a little tighter, I like to get in position, just like I always do, but maybe don't throw. Take a swing or two over his back, let your horse melt, but make sure his feet kind of keep moving and just stay down. But you as a healer, we can't change our body posture. We're going in, a horse wants to get tight. The more smooth you swing your rope and the quieter you are with your upper body, the less moves you make, and the more you can just kind of squeeze and use your feet, the more forgiveness he's going to have. So I like to get in position and then take one or two swings over him and then let my rope and then heel him and then make sure he's picked up. You know, if you feel like he's a little tight, just heel him and just walk him out and keep him framed up and keep him moving forward. But I think to get a horse really patterned is take a swing or two over their back and make him stay in position for a swing or two, and then let your loop work. And then just gauge if he feels good, just let him stop and let him chill. Or if you feel like he's a little tight, just kind of squeeze him forward and use your feet, not really spur him, but just squeeze him forward to keep him framed up through after the run. That way he knows he's going to keep his feet moving forward. What's the next one?
Natalie asked, how do you tell the difference between a head and heel rope?
Okay, so here we go. So your head ropes on classics, this is the tail tag. This is what's going to let you know. So the tail tag goes from a double X, which is the softest rope. It's an extra soft, to an extra soft, to a soft and a medium soft. But see this says 30 foot. Head ropes are going to be your 30-foot lays. And the head ropes are going to be smaller and a little lighter, a little softer. And then you got your heel ropes, which on this tail tag, it says it goes from a soft to a medium soft to a medium to a hard beam to a medium hard, and that has your 35 foot. And your head ropes or your heel ropes are going to be a little bit bigger round, and they're going to be firmer, and they're going to be a little bit stiffer. But the tail tag is what's made so that way the roper knows exactly what they're buying when they get it.
Okay, here's another one from Cole. Does it matter to you which way a new rope kicks when holding it straight out in front of you? Is one way better than the other when selecting a rope off the rack?
Well, it's whatever you prefer. I like my ropes straight. When I drop my ropes down, I want them to be straight. And it's just whatever you prefer and feeling. I mean, there's a lot of great ropers in the world that have different feels than I do. But it's just if you like kick, if you drop your rope down, you want your rope to have where the eye is like this. See, if that's what you prefer, or if you like them like that. But most of the time, you're not going to get them with backswing because they have to be tied a certain way for that. But most of the time, when you get a rope down, they're going to be straight or kick to the left. That's how this rope is when it walks out. But when you break the rope in, what's going to happen is when you get a stretch on it, it's going to pull it to about right there. That way, it still follows your hand and it's easy to swing. They tie them like this for different weather conditions. You know, if it's hot, they're going to tie them straight. If it's cold, they're going to time a little kick because when the weather hits them, it's going to make the rope change a little bit. That's what I think it's great to all you guys when you get a rope from the feed store or Valley Vet to get them or swing through them and make sure it's tied in the right conditions and make sure it feels good for the time of year. Because there's a lot of time you go to an old feed store or anywhere and no telling how long the rope's been there. It could be tied for a certain season. So I think it's great to feel the rope at first and then get the feel you want. If you want a little kick, if you want them straight, or if you want them just a hair backswing. Just all personal preference, and you just have to go through and feel them what they got.
Alex asked, what do you do about head horses that won't rate?
In my opinion, roping a dummy or roping really slow steers, or also to get a breakaway rope, get one of these ropes and cut the eye out and put a breakaway on there and maybe just rope and stop and make the horse be listening to you a little bit more. But a lot of professional headers rope a lot slower steers, and when the head horse wants to be strong, they rope slower steers to maintain their speed a little bit, that way they don't get so worked up.
Okay. Corey says, newbie roper in general, but trying to learn to heel. How stiff or soft of a rope should we start with?
That's a great question. A lot of it's body conformation and feel. You know, if you're a real big guy, you might want to start with a medium soft or a medium. But if you're a lady or a younger kid, I would say start with a soft or a medium soft. You want to use whatever you can control. I don't feel like it's good to start using a stiff rope, because if you start using a medium or a hard medium, you start using it before you really know where your tip's at, and then you're just swinging it and you're kind of throwing it hard like a cable. But the softer the rope, the more you have to control it. And I think when you're just learning how to rope, it's very important to use what you can control. So use a softer rope, in my opinion. That way you really get to feel the tip, and you get to feel of how you place your rope down, and then you get that feel. And then as you progress and as you rope faster steers, as you rope better, you can move it up a lay at a time, to that way you can have what regulates what's easier for you to use in higher percentage. I was probably 17 years old before I even used anything stiffer than a medium, because I was a really small kid. I couldn't really swing them. And I don't think I used the hard medium until I was probably 17, maybe medium, probably was 17, 18 year old before I started using a medium.
Marilyn asks, at what point do you consider a rope to be used up, worn out, and to get a new one?
Well, on the head side, to me, when a rope gets to where I really rope and it's kind of just real fuzzy and real dead feeling, and I don't really get the snap, that's when I might go put it up. And heel rope's the same way. Heel rope, a lot of times you got to watch the coils. When the coils get kind of kinked up and they get, some stuff like this when you're doubling, I think that's dangerous. And I think that's when we need to kind of put them up, because you don't want anything interfering. But, it's just all personal preference. I do think you should use a newer rope with the rope-ins, because that's what's going to give you more snap, more feel. And then, the practice pin can kind of get by with using a little older rope. But to me, when your rope starts feeling dead, when your loop starts hitting dead, and it feels like a little different, maybe that's when I would call it quits that rope and go grab you a newer one.
Okay. Tyler asked, what do you think is more forgiving when heeling, a stiffer or softer rope?
100% a softer rope. A lighter, softer rope, when you want forgiveness, when you want to be able to swing through a shot, like that's where like the NXTs, the Spiders, the Heats, and even the GT4 in a softer lay. The softer and easy, more pliable them ropes are, that they help you be able, to me, they help you ride better. To me, when I use a softer rope or a lighter rope, it lets me swing smoother and helps my feet move faster, because if you swing hard, it's hard to really ride aggressive with your feet, to me. But if you swing really smooth, it's easy to stay in the middle of your saddle. It's easy to stay balanced. And then your horse feels forgiving, and then your rope's also forgiving too, because you're not mashing it, and you're able to just really place your rope, and you're not having to use your arm, and you're not having to really mash to be able to get ahead of the steer.
Lane asked, what is the best heel rope jackpotting in hot weather?
In hot weather, I would say either the NB4 or the Powerline. To me, I think the Powerline is all time. If you can handle the weight of the Powerline, I think it's all time. It's great. And honestly, too, this one right here, the Spider, is a very good rope. In the heat, this rope is very tough, and you can use it a lot of places. And the NB4 is the same way. I don't feel like the heat affects them that much either. That was a great question.
Okay. Alex asks, any drills for heel horses that want to come out in the wrong lead?
That's a very good question. And I think that's something that there's very few heel horses, to me. There's a lot of heel horses, they're going to start in the right lead, but there's a handful of freaks that actually do stay in the left lead all the time. And I don't really know personally, I don't know how to train that, but I would say a lot of circles and a lot of stuff to the left. And even so too, sometimes when I start a heel horse, I'll go outside the box if I can. And that way, when my header nods and the steer leaves out, I'll be on the right side of the box. And that way, when I start, I'll be pushing towards the cow, and then I'll be automatically be in the left lead. But I think a lot of drills in a circular motion or in the left lead to help with that. Maybe go in the left lead around the dummy to get that shoulder up in that left lead. But and if you're in the box, it's very hard to have a horse that will stay in the left lead every single time, because their first move sometimes has to be to the right. So their natural tendency is want to go in the right lead. But personally, I feel like if you can go on the right side of the box, just like you're in the box, but just start on the right side, kind of on the fence, and then you can kind of gradually come towards the steer. That way your first move is towards the steer, and your left lead will be engaged because you're going to the left.
Lori asked, when do you use a rope with a Hondo, and what's the difference?
So the Honda is to hold the rope into place to where you can have your loop, and this is basically what it is. It is that's what helps us feed the rope. That's what helps us regulate the rope. And then I like to keep my Hondas pretty straight, and then that's what holds the rope all together. That way the rope can shut tight on an object like that.
So can you just go over the care of a rope and what you need to do to keep it in great shape?
Absolutely. So summertime, to me, anytime I'm roping, or in my opinion, the best way to take care of a rope for me personally is, not many guys do it. Everyone's got their own preference, but I like powder. I like the really good baby powder you can get on Prime, because it don't have the cornstarch in it. But to me, and when the weather fluctuates from hot to cold and kind of wet and dry, the powder gets in the crowns and it makes the ropes feel very consistent. In the cooler weather and kind of drier, you really don't need it as much. But when there's humidity in the air and the weather kind of fluctuates, it makes the rope feel maybe sticky or maybe just a little hot. But I think the powder works amazing in all weather conditions, and it makes my ropes feel more forgiving, more the same. So when I started rodeoing, I just always kept about 3 or 4 ropes in the bed of my trailer in the AC at all times. But I come to find out, as soon as you grab your rope from the trailer and you go take it outside and it's 100 degrees, your rope's going to eventually start changing because the wax gets hot and the rope starts to change because the weather hit it. But if you can powder your ropes up, the powder gets in the crowns of your rope and it keeps the ropes cool, and it makes the ropes feel way more consistent. I keep them in the back of the trailer, no AC, no nothing, just keep putting powder on them throughout the weeks, and they all feel the same. And when I pull them out, the powder keeps the crowns smooth and it keeps the ropes cool. That way the wax doesn't get hot and make the rope twist. So personally, I use powder all year round. If you're not a powder fan, I would try keeping them in a cooler climate. In the summer, maybe keep them in the trailer, or in the winter time too. I think it's equally important. Keep them somewhere where they're not going to be freezing cold. Keep them in the house or keep them in the tack room. But you want to regulate the rope's temperature if you can. Sometimes I understand you can't, but I think powder to me is easy. I keep them in my bag, whether it's in the trailer and it's 100 degrees or in the trailer when it's 30 degrees. I just keep them in my bag with powder, and that keeps my ropes feeling consistent and the same all year long.
Andrea asked if you have any advice for someone who is left-handed.
Yes. I guess you got to heel if you're going to be left-handed, but maybe they do make ropes for left-handed guys. It's wherever you want to do. But just left-handed is just like right-handed, but a couple things are going to be different with your entry. But your rope placement and your swing, everything can all be dictated to the right arm guys. But I wish I could tell you more. I can't do hardly anything with my left hand. I think I broke my arm a couple times, and I tried to rope left-handed. I wasn't very good at it. So if I start telling you more information, I'd just be lying to you.
Yeah. Cutter asked, what was the hardest obstacle to overcome in your career?
To me, the hardest thing to overcome is that when you're probably about a 7 or 8 and you're trying to get to a 9. And to me, that is just figuring out a process to be able to catch steers consistently everywhere you go every time. And I think once you figure that out, it's all about consistency and having a foundation. You got to be able to go to different places, do different things, and still do the same job. And that's the hardest thing I think it is to accomplish. I think consistency is super important, and I feel like you guys got to balance your consistency and be able to go to where you can kind of go different places behind different headers and different situations and still be able to do your job. Because as a heeler, your job doesn't change. Our job is to catch the steer. Our header's job is to set them up, and they're going to dictate the time. We just stop the clock. So I feel like when you get your process and you get your game plan figured out to where you got a program and you got to run, I feel like it's the hardest thing to do is just get that built, and then you got to stick with it and trust it and let it go to work.
Okay. All right. I think that we are kind of ready to. We had one more question here. What does your ideal handle look like, fast or slow steers?
To me, the ideal handle is one that just maintains the same speed as a steer. Whether they're slow steers, if they're slow steers or they're fast steers, I just kind of want the momentum to be the same. Because as a heeler, I get down the arena, I pick up my rope, and I just I react to the cow, but I match the same speed as a steer through the whole run. So to me, if you can keep the steer speed the same, I think that's very helpful. It's hard to go heel a steer when he hits and he's going faster across the arena as he's going down, or vice versa. I understand if we go really fast, but if you slow down the steers too much, as a heeler comes in, the momentum's not going to be matched when you do go through the corner. So it makes it that much more tough to be able to rate. So I think if a guy in a perfect world, you can kind of keep the steer speed the same going down the arena as you can going across, I think you're right on the money.
Okay, and don't forget that all the ropes that we've talked about today can be ordered right here at Valley Vet. And Andrea, we can also order left-handed ropes for you. Just let us know if we can help you out. I think we're ready to draw a winner.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and draw a winner. Paden, we really appreciate you hopping on here with us today. We had a ton of viewers, lots of great questions, and lots of great information. So,
And Paden will be back with us again on Thursday, so make sure you tune in again.
all right, so the winner is gonna get a bag and a classic rope of choice, I believe. So the winner is Russell Corner. Woo!
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Russell. If you're still on, go ahead and send us a PM to claim your prize, and we'll get the information there. Before we hop off of here, we want to just remind everybody that our Swinging for the Fences sweepstakes is going on now. There's 9 winners. It ends April 23rd, so make sure you get entered now so you don't forget. Okay, so I think that's all.
Thank you so much. We'll see you Thursday.
Thank you guys very much.